when I first came in, I thought to myself, how do you train? How do you keep it going? Because as technology changes, and we've seen a lot in the last 22 years that I've been here, how do you keep up with the changes? And so as the years kind of started rolling, I realized the need for training to keep everybody on par with what was coming out and what people would be utilizing. So one, to train new people that were trying to come into the trades, but also to continue the knowledge of products that were coming out. Yeah. And so it's been something that I've wanted to do for a considerable amount of time.
Welcome to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn, and I'm excited to have you join me as I interview community members and business leaders from the communities in which I live, work, and serve through my business Kooler Garage Doors. We're going to bring you highlights on characters in our communities. Why? Because community matters, and I want to know more about who is behind our business and leadership in order to understand and support the community fabric that our relationships make up. And collectively, we can build stronger communities that support our lifestyles, our youth, and our health. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn. Today, I'm sitting down with my friend, Kristin Davis, who is the president of Bishop Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning out of Glenwood Springs. Is that right?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Are you beaming in from your office?
I am. And thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to speak with you. We connected. When was that? Was that in the springtime?
It was in September
conference?
At Vertical Track.
It was in the fall version. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you planning to go to that again? That's happening in Orlando, Florida, I've heard.
Possibly. I'm exploring it, trying to work out my schedule. I've got quite a few things coming up in the fall, so we'll see where I land.
Yeah, right on. Well, cool. I'd like to start a conversation similar to how I start these, to build out a context of one's life. So, Kristin, where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Arizona, but I moved to Texas, just outside of Houston, in an area called Missouri City, Sugar Land area. So I grew up there. It's a suburb of Houston. Spent a lot of time, back in the day. I grew up in the 80s, and so we didn't have the technology. We only had cartoons on Saturdays, and you would just go out with your friends and you'd be gone all day long. Your parents were off doing other things, and you'd get on your little bike gang and go around the neighborhood and explore. And it was a good place to grow up. Loved it.
6 a.m. Mighty Mouse was my favorite Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was, the one day that you wanted to get up early and get down. I don't know what that was, pardon me, but I'll take care of that. Get down there and beat the brother to the cartoons. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, what's the short summary? I see that, from your website, you got into Bishop right around in the 2000s.
Yes. So, the story is that I went to college and I have a college degree, but still trying to explore what I was going to be doing in life. And my father kind of completely got me into the trades.
Okay.
He had been one of the founders of Comfort Systems USA, which is a national HVAC company. And his role in that was to negotiate with small companies, and it was a roll-up. And so he would go around and meet with small companies across the nation and purchase their business and roll it up into one larger business, Comfort Systems USA. And his role in that was to be the negotiator. And then once all that was completed, he ended up retiring, although he never really retired. And so he then left Comfort Systems USA. You know, it was a fun job for him because he loved going out, meeting with people, hearing about their businesses and so forth. And so the story goes that, you know, he was in retirement and then, you know, he would still keep in contact with everyone. And they mentioned that they were going to sell Bishop Plumbing, which had been acquired by Comfort Systems USA. And he just really felt like it was such a great opportunity and great business. I had been up with my dad in Montana for Thanksgiving, visiting, and he said, let's jump in the car. We're going to drive to Aspen and go check out this business. So we jumped in the car, drove down to Aspen, spoke with everyone, toured the business, came back to Montana, ran pro formas, discussed it, how would it work, and eventually he purchased the business back from Comfort Systems.
Gotcha.
With really little intention of going there and doing much work, but to have me there to kind of, you know, run the business, and so that's kind of where it all came about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. So did you, before this kind of transpired, like, were you interested in running a plumbing business?
So I would say not a plumbing business. I knew I wanted to be in business.
Okay.
Growing up, my dad was in various businesses, and you know, both my parents were great. My mom was or is an artist. I missed that gene set completely, and I was always kind of drawn towards my dad in business and asking him about his businesses. He had his own business. He worked for other businesses, so he was quite the role model when it came to that. And when I went to college, I never wavered. I always wanted a business degree, accounting, and so forth. So I knew I wanted to be in business. I would not have guessed I would have been in the trades, but it has been a great place to land.
What's been the biggest surprise for you being in a trades business that you didn't see prior to jumping in?
I would probably say just the skill set that everybody has to be able to perform repairs is quite amazing to me. I never would have guessed how dangerous it can be if you don't know what you're doing. And so I'm pretty impressed with what technicians, what kind of knowledge they have, how they're dealing with things that are different every day. And so it's not a consistent, repetitive type business. So it's incredible that they can address the multitude of issues that are presented to them. So I think I was maybe underestimating what kind of skill set was needed to do this kind of business.
Yeah.
And then I think when I first got into the business, I was probably a little fearful that I really didn't have knowledge of the trades, and you know, where would I fit in? You know, being a woman that was coming into the trades with another factor, and maybe a little fearful one of how would I be accepted, would I be taken seriously, and so forth. So all things I navigated, and yeah,
that's awesome.
Hey everybody, this is Luke from Kooler Garage Doors. Just want to take a quick second to talk about our sponsor, Sommar Garage Door Openers. We believe Sommers are the best in the business when it comes to garage door openers. We always recommend them for residential installs because of the many features they have, such as Wi-Fi connectivity and safety features like a fixed chain that runs along a secure rail for a quiet and safe operation. Click the link to find out more about Sommar Garage Door Openers.
And so let's talk about the trades. And before we started the camera recording, you know, we had a conversation. I know you're putting together a training center, and I want to give space to talk about that because that's a big deal.
And it's coming out of a need to be able to develop professional technicians, I'm assuming, because there's maybe less and less. And I'm trying to identify exactly where the real trouble is, because it's not just in the Western Slope, Colorado. This is across the country. And we don't have people running into the trades. Like, I want to be a plumber. And yet it can be such a great profession to support great lifestyles. And so I just want to open up that level of conversation. Like, you're building a training center, and what is that really going to do for the company, but also for the individuals that come in? How is this a game changer?
Well, I guess going back to what you had said before, what were some things that were kind of eye-opening to me? When I first came in, I thought to myself, how do you train? How do you keep it going? Because as technology changes, and we've seen a lot in the last 22 years that I've been here, how do you keep up with the changes? And so as the years kind of started rolling, I realized the need for training to keep everybody on par with what was coming out and what people would be utilizing. So one, to train new people that were trying to come into the trades, but also to continue the knowledge of products that were coming out. Yeah. And so it's been something that I've wanted to do for a considerable amount of time. Where we are, it is expensive to find space. There's not a lot available. So we had the opportunity to purchase the building that we're in back in November, which allowed us to acquire more space. So it's a very compounded thing. One, there are more people retiring out of the trades than are entering into the trades.
Yeah.
And the need is still highly present. If you have a home, you're going to need services. So it's a very demanding industry, but we don't have enough people that are interested in coming into the industry. So how do you get people to recognize that it is a worthy career? And so my vision is to create this training academy. We've already started it. But the idea would be twofold. One would be to be able to go around in our community to our schools and try and find candidates that are coming out of high school that may necessarily don't want to go on the college path, and get the message out that there is a viable career where you can make a very nice income and have job security, because it is an industry where you're always in demand. But also then to take our current employees that are out in the field and be able to train them on new products that are coming out, and get up to date on the technology. And, in exploring this and talking to a lot of our vendors, what I've realized is that they are super supportive as well. They recognize the issue in the industry that we are hurting for new people coming in. And so everybody's been so responsive. I've been getting deliveries of product because they want us to train their products, and they're just delivering them in for free. And we're finding that this is coming together as more of a collective effort rather than just our one idea. I have the Colorado Mountain College may be interested in it becoming a program. I have other area leadership that work with students that are very interested in this as well. I have our vendors that want to pitch in money towards it because they want us to be successful so that we can bring more people into the trades. And so what I found is a lot of people are coming in to make this dream a realization. And so it's been quite an endeavor and pretty exciting.
I love the collaboration component. I just made a note of that. I think that's powerful. And to have vendors see the importance of it is incredible. That's awesome.
And I think I was a little surprised at how interested they were in it coming to fruition. And it's been such a pleasant surprise to have the support from everyone to make this happen. And so we are underway, and we've got the room prepped and ready, and a platform was built this past weekend, and product is arriving. So to couple that, we have a curriculum. We work with Nexstar, which is kind of a professional organization that supports our industry, that have collaborated with us to come up with a curriculum and training, and have helped us design our training rooms. So we have a lot of support around us to make this a success.
Love it. I love it. And I would imagine, actually I know, because I also train in the trades, but that gives a homeowner a consistent experience. And I think that, what this is breaking the mold of a bit is, in some of the trades, there's a low barrier to entry. So we get different individuals with different skill sets, delivering different levels of experience. You mentioned some of the components around safety, and that goes for the homeowner as well as the tradesperson. And this is leveling up across the board so that we have more professional delivery of service, providing a better experience, better value. And there's that real consistency piece to know that, I would imagine if I called out Bishop and I got, one technician versus the other, it's going to be a very similar experience, and it will be different than an individual that just picked up some tooling and is rolling around in a truck.
Yes, I think that if we want to be taken as professional, we need to be professional. And what that means is that we have professional training, we have operation manuals, we have expectations, and the consistency. So when you do call Bishop, or whatever your choice may be, what I think a homeowner should expect is a professional to show up and be able to be mindful of their home and respectful. That's probably one thing I think I can probably bring to the plate, is that being a woman owner, I feel like I can really kind of relate to having somebody come into my home. And although, it's not consistently always a woman at home, there is that factor. And I feel like I am able to, deliver that respect out through our employees. So yeah, it's kind of the whole package. If you act like a professional, you're treated like a professional. And that's what we train here, is to make sure that we further ourselves to be the best that we can be.
Mm-hmm. I love that. What do you think the role is? Has this shifted, I guess, the role of the employer and in nurturing or developing a team member, an employee? Have you seen that role shift kind of post-COVID versus pre-COVID?
Yeah, I think that COVID certainly was something that kind of changed things. And we had to adapt to something we'd never adapted to before. I think in some ways, I think we became a little closer with employees and how we took care of everyone. I think that kind of opened up some avenues that weren't there before. It was oddly, COVID was something very different to navigate, and how you handle a big problem that you've never faced before and finding solutions to it. And we were able to figure out how to remotely work for those that were in the office, and how to be safe out in the field when, we're in a business where we're going into people's homes all the time, and how do you treat that safely? So it was definitely a game changer. It really had you look at some areas in your company that maybe you weren't as prepared as you thought you were, but we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah, it was definitely a big change up. And then, it seems like the shift has been on ever since. And, I'm referencing population shifts. I'm sure you've seen it in your area. I mean, I think it's impacting all of Western Colorado, and people are coming out here, and that's impacting smaller communities. The workforce,
the whole remoting, you
yes.
can work from anywhere now. And so, yes, I think the mountains became a popular area to move to. You can work remotely. There are less people around, and you can enjoy the outdoor space. So, yes, it's become a little more crowded.
Well, yeah, it adds people. It shifts the dynamics of housing. And so we're talking about tradesfolks being able to lock in housing for their family, right? And that has its own nuance and challenges for sure up in the mountain towns. And even the workforce, we've seen this generational shift, and the folks coming into the workforce now have different expectations than the ones that are exiting. And it's just an interesting dynamic, interesting time to be able to build and run businesses and communities.
Indeed.
You mentioned the shift in technologies, and I guess the question is forward thinking. Like, from where you are now, what are you excited for? You're going to have your training center up and running in a few weeks, months. I don't know what your time frame is on that, but looking at what's developing in the industry, within your community, what are we excited for?
I think I'm completely realizing a dream with this training center. I think that technology is really making a big shift right now. There is a big shift towards finding that we're going to put in electric-based equipment, which is completely different. There's, natural gas products have been at the forefront for a long time. And so what we're seeing is that the industry is really gearing towards heat pump type styles, which is a difference from, we put in a lot of furnaces and boilers that are run off of natural gas. And so what we're going to be doing is adapting into a new product that's going to run off of electricity. And so that's a big shift in our industry. And so that's what we'll be doing a lot of training on. We already have a foundation to it, but it'll be something we'll be enhancing as the products become more commonplace in our area and of course across the nation. So that's definitely what we're headed towards.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but I see that shift happening, moving away from the gases and moving towards electric.
Yes. And so I think as the communities want to go more green, those options are going to become more prevalent. And so we're going to adapt to that and learn the product and be able to represent it.
Is Bishop looking for more technicians at the moment?
Yeah, we always are.
Always.
And, the complications with that are to attract skilled technicians is challenging with the cost of living in our area. So we can attract people in, but once they are able to explore the living opportunities, we often lose the candidate. So yes, that's been a challenge for us.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that up in the Gunnison Valley, even with PhDs, and everybody's impacted at that level.
Yeah. Physicians, it's quite incredible, the housing market, how much it's spiked since COVID and making it just unobtainable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's pointing.
It's challenging. And I don't know what the real clear solution is to it either.
Well, I talked with other businesses, and I had a conversation with another business woman and I that we talk often about what our challenges are and how we're finding solutions to them. And, she said, and, gave me the idea that, let's try to push towards seeing if the government can assist in employee housing funding. And whether that is, low interest loans or some money that, could be given out for that type of development, or maybe some tax relief or something, so that it would allow us to be able to establish employee housing. When I purchased the building, it came with some land. Can I put some housing on there? How can I make that a reality? So it's fun to talk with other business leaders in the community and be able to bounce ideas off of each other and see how we can come up with solutions, because housing for employees is not just a Bishop problem. It is a problem for businesses in our area all across the board.
That's right.
And how do you handle that? If you're not, the big company like a skiing company, which they do a lot for their employees, for employee housing, how do the smaller businesses tackle that issue and make a difference? And so it's, something we can reach out to one another and see what we can collectively come up with to try and get a solution to the issue.
Yeah, and I think your point, if I was to extract one out of there, is collaboration. I think when we get to these kind of challenging solutions, no one individual or entity can solve it. And I think it is collaborating with local municipalities, government, with other business owners, having a network, being able to have the trust and bring it up and be like, this is real, and let's try to come to the table.
Yeah, I think it's not something I'm going to be able to resolve on my own. And so when you get people together with the same challenges, a lot can come out of that conversation that can move you forward towards a solution. And so it is great to have that collaboration and community input, so we can find a way to navigate these challenging times.
Yeah. When folks are entering the workforce, and we'll start summarizing up our conversation here, but I wanted to extract a component around the 4-year degree, the trades, the opportunity that's presented, and what is in it for the young person entering the workforce who might be looking at trades, 4-year degree. Is it an and or thing? Is it just a matter of timing? Like, what's available in the trades that people may not see right now?
So the thing with the 4-year college, and that's obviously a great path for the right person, but it's expensive, and you may walk away with considerable student loan debts. And you may or may not find a job in that, whatever you might have majored in. Whereas with the trades, so let's say we take somebody that's coming out of high school and they decide to go into our program. They're getting paid to train. So instead of paying to go through the school, they are actually being trained while they're going through the training. And so they're going to learn a set of skills that will serve them for the rest of their career. And they're not going to incur student loan debt. They're going to be out and making money within 9 months of starting the program. And so as far as, moving up the chain, so they're going to be paid to train. And what we would say in the trades is when you're out in a van and able to run calls, then you're taking it up that tier. And so you have potential to really get into a good salary pretty quick. The turnaround time is so much quicker than a 4-year degree. And you're going to be doing things, there are people that are really great at school and taking tests and being able to kind of fit that role. And then you're going to have other people that work better hands-on. And, so you might be and maybe you're a mechanic and you want to work on cars, or, in this case, you're working with your hands, you're out in the field. Like, I personally could not fix anything. Like, that's not me. I'm good at the opposite side, and I recognize that. But there's just this whole big opportunity to do things where you can learn quickly, you can do it debt-free, and even if you didn't stay with Bishop Plumbing and you and your family moved away, you went somewhere else, that set of skills goes with you. Yes. And you're going to be able to find employment anywhere. And it's needed all across the United States, not just here in our town. And so it's something that you're going to give yourself an opportunity for the rest of your life.
Yes, I agree with that. And I would imagine, knowing a little bit of who you are, Kristin, the folks that are coming and engaging with your training, yes, we're learning hard skills, but with the adaptation of technologies and the way that the trades are playing in the home services, like, there is a high level of soft skills, of emotional intelligence, of personal presentation, of, how we carry ourselves and communicate with another human. And that, to me, is as valuable, if not more valuable, than that heart-wrenching skills. And that's one of the shifts I've seen in trades.
And we do train on those types of skills as well. And I'm glad that you brought that up and zeroed in on that, because it is, when you're going into someone's home, you want to have the ability to have good communication, understand the customer's needs, and finding out what those are. I think a lot of, historical in the trades are, you need to do this or you need to do that. And what we've shifted to is, what is it that you need? What is it that you desire? What are the things that you're wanting? What is lacking? And finding out those situations and addressing those issues. So it is a big, there's the technical side and there's the communication and people side. And we do train on both, for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, for those that are listening that have an interest of jumping onto your team, or maybe know of somebody that has an interest or just wants to get in touch with you or Bishop, how do we do that?
Well, you can jump on our website, bishopplumbing247.com, as in 24/7. And we're available all the time. Or give us a call. You can reach us, you can Google us, I'm sure, but our number is 970-945-9910. Love to talk to you. Love to give you an opportunity to start a new career, or if you already are in it, come join our team.
Yeah, love it. Well, Kristin, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to the next time you and I get together. And if it's
that'd be great.
Later in the fall at a conference, that's awesome. Otherwise, I'll make it by sooner than later. And
that sounds good.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. We count on your subscriptions, your likes, your shares, and I encourage you to do that now. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, lower right-hand button. If you're on audio, download this, share it, and we look forward to having you on the next one.